Hello, and welcome to Bettering Our Community. My name is Susanne Robinson. Today we're going to have the opportunity to learn about the Derry Judo Club. My guests today are Chris Vezeris, who is the founder of the club, and Pam O'Hara, a student that takes the judo classes.
That's correct.
Okay, great. Chris, I'm going to start with you as far as when did you found the club and why did you decide to start a Derry Judo Club?
Sure. I started the club in late November of 1971, and at that time, Hood Junior High School, that's what it was called then, okay, now it's Hood Middle School, Gilbert H. Hood Middle School. They wanted to come up with some of these ideas, okay, and they wanted to use Hood as a sort of like a community school. So James R. Stevenson, who was the principal at the time, okay, said, what do you say we have mini courses? And every Wednesday for an hour and a half, maybe an hour and 45 minutes, kids could elect to do these different mini courses. Okay, and a lot of these mini courses were done by teachers who had different expertises in things, art, theater, okay, judo. All right, so I decided to have a judo session, mini course.
So you were actually a teacher at the school?
Yes, I was a science teacher.
A science teacher, okay.
I taught in Derry for 31 years, so I've taught at Hood for 24. And my last 7 years was at West Runningbrook, okay, when they built the school, they transferred half us veterans over. So anyways, so we're doing this mini course, and I started seeing that students said, geez, after the 2 sessions, which consisted of, I think it was 6 weeks. So after 12 weeks, you had to move on to another mini course, okay? So I said, well, maybe I'll start a small club at night. I can get a workout into it, a boot, what have you, And it took off from there, okay? And so it went from Hood to West Runningbrook, and then to here after to Derry Rec, after I retired.
So right now it's part of Derry Parks and Recreation.
Yes.
And it has been for?
Since 2002.
2002,
Yeah,
okay.
Since
great.
2002. And yeah, the club just grew, and but it's like anything else. Sometimes we had high membership and low.
Right.
But overall, stayed very strong, and we were able to throw tournaments for many years. Derry Judo, aka, Hood Junior High Judo Club,
Right.
and Derry Middle School Judo Club. We threw the state championships for a number of years.
Wow.
We threw invitational tournaments for a number of years. And I had students who stayed with me. Okay, the Derry School Board was very gracious to allow them to stay, and so even when they were in college, they would come back to sneak in a workout.
Oh, great. Okay, so that was before it became part of the Parks and Recreation Department?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And so when I threw tournaments, not only did I have black belt competitors, but I also had people helping me with registration tables and filling in the brackets.
Oh, I'm
and
sure it's a lot of work.
And parents of students also came in and volunteered. They'd do the concession stands and also help, shuffle, the brackets.
So it's a great way. It sounds like it's been a great way that you've really been able to get the community involved in the program, not just the students taking the classes, but the parents and even part of the community. What are the specific goals that you have for the club now with it under Parks and Recreation?
Well, pretty much the goals of the Derry Judo Club is pretty much the major goal of judo itself. And the major goal of judo itself was the harmonious development and eventual perfection of human character. So we kind of tweaked it a little, and we said the development of Derry youth through the training in judo.
Okay. So explain a little bit about judo. I don't know much about judo or karate or taekwondo or any of those martial arts. So what distinguishes judo maybe from some of those others, and what are those skills that are developed?
Judo is a martial art. Essentially, it means the gentle way.
Oh,
okay. And it was devised in 1882 by a very famous Japanese educator, Dr. Jigoro Kano. And what he did was he took elements of various styles of jiu-jitsu, put them together, and made judo.
Okay.
Right? Now, judo consists of throws, pins, arm locks, strangles, and strikes. A little mixture of everything. But mostly it's a throwing art. Okay? People have asked me, what is judo? Sometimes I say, it's a self-defense.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Is it more of a self-defense, or
It can
some
be
are a little
anything.
more
It's
assertive, I guess?
It's a philosophy. It's a self-defense. It's an exercise, a method of exercising to develop confidence, character, strength, coordination. It's also a vehicle to relieve stress, to get out of the house a couple of times a week.
Right.
And, go down, get a good workout in. And
We'll move on to Pam with that. How many years have you been a student?
I've been a student for over 8 years.
Over 8 years. And so what motivated you to start judo classes? Was it to get out of the house?
Well, actually, my boys started in judo.
Oh, they started first.
Yeah, they started first. And I would watch them on the sidelines, like any mom or dad, a lot of times sitting by watching, and I kept thinking, I could do that. I could do that. So it took me about a year, and I decided I'm going to do that. So absolutely, get out of the house, and it's been an adventure since. But it was a family thing. We were doing it together, which was wonderful because they could be, on one side of the mat, and I would be on the other, and we'd all get the same workout together. And it is a workout.
Yeah.
It's a good one, but I think it's definitely for all physical types of people. It's really a broad range of people that we have in the class.
Right.
So that's kind of nice too.
Nice. And what knowledge did you have of judo before you started?
No knowledge of judo.
No.
Yeah. I mean, no.
if I may add, she's a very good student, as well as one of our assistants now.
Oh,
That's right.
One of our assistants, and she's doing very fine. And her story, what she just said, is very common. We have other families, where
lot of families.
daddy came in with his sons and daughters and they played, or again, like in her situation, the parent. We always ask parents to come in and watch,
right.
and enjoy watching your child practice. And some parents will say, "Geez, it looks pretty good. I think I'll try it."
Well, I was wondering about where do you get the chance to practice, and who do you practice with? Because are there certain moves that you learn and do by yourself, or do you need someone else to work with on it? Or
I think you get a lot of practice during the class.
during the class?
And that's one thing that did really draw me to judo is it's hands-on, where you're actually working hands-on. You're right up against somebody and kind of tumbling around, and especially for the children, I think it's excellent for them to learn that, not be afraid of that.
And we work progressively. Students learn how to condition themselves, how to fall safely, because safety is paramount in our club.
Right.
We have a very good track record
Right.
on safety. And then we start to teach them how to throw. And we always have at least 3 or 4 instructors. And, we build things up incrementally, so that, safety being the issue.
Right.
And it reduces risks. Although every sport, art has its hazards, but hopefully with proper supervision like we have, it keeps it down.
Right. Now, I understand you're a nationally certified coach and a 6th degree black belt.
Yes, ma'am.
As I said, I don't know much about judo, so I don't understand what the 6th degree means. And as a black belt, is that, I think I know that much, is the highest level you can get. But explain a little bit about that for the viewers that don't know, like myself.
Okay. Well, there are 10 grades of black belts, okay? And in judo, there's very few currently that are 10th degree black, 10th dans, as we call them. So 6th dan it's getting there, but I've been at it for, it'll be 55 years next month.
And do you get to that 6th level by the number of competitions, or do you get points at the competitions? How do you get
that? Plus practices, you attend clinics, certifications, time and grade. Okay, so it's a pretty concise process where it's all on paper, and you can gauge. Geez, I think I'll take a shot of promotion, and of course, we the instructors we monitor students and say, hey, so and so, You know, I think you're ready for your next rank, whatever that belt color would be. And you know, they practice and what have you. They take a written test.
Right.
Okay, a little history of judo, some vocab. Okay, but the best way to really climb through the ranks is, you know, attending clinics and competition. But there are some people that just don't want to compete. They just want to come down, get a hard, good workout in, and that's fine. And they still can get their promotions.
Right.
They're not
right.
being penalized.
Okay. With the competitions, are those, I'm assuming they're sanctioned by, is it a United States Judo Association?
Right.
That
Or
sanction?
the United States Judo. We have 3 judo associations under the Olympic umbrella.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and and when you're a member of any one of the 3, that sanctions your amateur status.
Okay.
Okay, and you can go from local tournaments all the way up to being an Olympian, a world-class player, and they have to be members of, you know,
One of
the, you know, well, then it's the Olympic one, the USJI.
Where have some of the competitions, I know, Pam, you've attended some competitions. Have those just been within the state, or do they become regional competitions?
You can go regional. I've been to a few at UNH has many. Keene also, so they are in the state. If you choose to go, I mean, Pedro's right down in
Jimmy
Massachusetts.
Pedro's.
There's quite a few that you can attend.
Have you enjoyed them?
Oh, absolutely. I learn a lot just even watching. Just even to go and just to watch, to see them, everyone playing, and especially now that I've started instructing the younger kids, you know, it's an honor to go and watch them compete too.
Talk about the class that you're instructing in the age. What we haven't talked about what ages. We know that you can go till seems like whenever.
Yes, whenever.
How young do children get started in judo?
6 years old, isn't it? Yeah, 6 years old to 10. And that's the first class that we have on
6
Wednesday.
to 10
6 to 10
would be the younger group.
class.
Okay.
And then 11 up, okay, would be the second class. But of course, you know, those groups are divided. You know,
Okay.
You wouldn't see a 12-year-old going up against, you know,
Right.
I'll say a 40-year-older. Matter of fact, we just had one individual. He just retired from judo, Ken. Okay, 76 years old.
That's right.
Wow.
76 years old.
Good for him.
I doubt if I'll make it that.
But I think, I mean, he obviously knows a lot about judo and how to fall properly. He may be preventing himself from some serious injuries as you get older, to have the strength of the muscles and to know that if you do trip over something, how to break that fall or how to fall properly, that you're not incurring injuries.
I can't remember how many times I've heard stories of people telling me, my students, you know, and even the older students, much like Ken, where they've either slipped on ice or they fell off a motorcycle, and as they were falling, they, you know, turned it into a roll, and to prevent serious injury. A number of stories.
Is there a particular, you said it's 6 to 10, so if any viewer is interested in registering for their child or even for the family, is the registration on Derry Parks and Rec on the town website?
Absolutely.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And they can also go down to, you know, the main office and pass in the paperwork.
Okay,
That
so
would be the best thing.
right, so that's derrynh.org, which is the town website, and they would just search under departments to find Derry Parks and Rec.
Yeah, Derry
find
Parks
more
and Rec, and
information
then
that way.
Be there, yeah.
And we haven't talked about, but where are the classes held?
They're held at the Veterans Memorial Hall.
Okay.
We're there now once a week.
Okay, and that's right on Broadway.
Right.
So their classes are held once a week.
Yes.
On what night and what time?
Wednesday. We start at 5:45 for the first class, and then the second class starts at 7, and we break at, well, 8:30, sometimes 9. You know, it depends on, you know, how we get into it, you know, and, you know, covering concepts and things. And even though we only meet once a week, we really cover a lot.
What would you recommend as proper dress for, you know, say one of the 6 or 8-year-olds? Or, I mean, is there proper attire that they need to have right away?
Well, at first,
away.
no, not right away, but it'd be nice to have, you know, a long sleeve sweatshirt, because in judo there is a lot of tugging and pulling. It is contact. Okay. Which is what Pam was saying. You know, we pulled and set up our opponent, you know, for the throw. So, and matter of fact, I told one of the girls there, you know, who just signed up, to put a long sleeve sweatshirt on. And then, you know, if they like judo, and most of them do, then the current instructor, Roger, I gave the club over to Roger.
Okay.
Okay.
Roger is one of the instructors that has been
Roger's
with you.
been with me since he was 12, 13.
Oh.
Okay, he was started in my science class.
And he's teaching now.
Oh, a
that
lot
says
of them.
about the program, I think, to have the longevity of the students. And Pam, you said 8 years, but Roger's been, I don't know how old Roger is. But
Roger, well, he's
teaching
been
and
here
he
for
was
34 years now.
Wow, wow.
33 years, 34
that
years.
says a lot about the program.
Roger's a 4th degree black. And Ken, who just retired, he was a 5th degree black.
Wow.
And we'd go everywhere as us guys, training camps in New York for a week.
Sounds like
so
fun.
I brought some students
Becomes
down.
a family.
Yeah.
So it's your
it's a
family
family.
within the family of
There's a
the members of the judo club.
And when my family left me, you know, like the empty nest syndrome, you know, everyone has to go their way sometime. Like I was saying to you before the show, we have about 7 major judo clubs in New Hampshire. And then there's some others that, you know, come and go, but basically 7. And 4 of them are being run by members of the old Hood Junior High Judo.
Wow. Wow.
Okay, and we still have contact
So you
with them.
fostered not only some very talented members of the community that know judo, that they could start their own programs.
Right.
So there must be something within judo, maybe it's ethic or philosophy of giving back and
All of the above.
Yes.
All of the above.
Talk
what you
about
just
that
said.
a little bit, yeah, because it's more than just learning these skills and getting some great exercise, but talk about what are some of those life skills that are taught in judo.
Well, honesty, helping your fellow man, like you said, giving back to something that I can't tell how many times I've heard students say to me, geez, you know, Mr. V, if it wasn't for judo, I don't know where I'd be today. And some of these people are very successful businessmen. Maybe some of them aren't black belts, some of them are brown, you know, but
Well,
the
just
lessons that they
discipline,
learned
maybe?
from training, you know, and cooperating with each other, it made an effect in life. It also affected me, because I see these guys. You know, I had my hip replaced a few years back. I had my students come, we'll shovel you out. We'll have they were up on the roof,
Nice. Oh,
what have you.
wow.
Yeah, so there's an example.
You've talked about the opportunity to, the physical aspect of it, but there's also, I know that you study a lot. What is that? Is there an academic part of it too?
There's a lot to learn, and one is the philosophy, you know, to understand it, and the gentle way to understand that you're not working against that person, that body. You're using their motion against them.
So it's not an aggressive sport.
Well, you can be aggressive, but I'm not going to work against what the person is doing. I'm going to use that to my advantage. So, you know, examples, if they're pushing towards me, I'm not going to be trying to push back. I'm going to take that energy and throw them this way, use that energy.
Okay.
So it, you know, and it's great to teach the children that. I find that's, you know, one of the hardest, you know, to learn. You really, and you can see that being developed over time. You get to see that they work together. What we call being a good ugi would be to be a good partner. And I think where you say that the kids get to learn some character building by helping each other.
Right. And also some of the terminology, because I know that you've studied
Japanese.
a lot of Japanese. It's been a lot. So,
but I find that's part of what I like about judo, and what and what made me more interested in it is because it not only challenges physically, but also there's that mental challenge to study and to know your throws are in Japanese. So it's
And
good to
then
learn.
the young students that you have in your class, they are actually learning
They are.
that terminology too.
little
So
terminology.
Little bit.
at 6, they're learning Japanese and understanding.
That's what makes judo sort of, should I say, universal. Let's say you've been playing judo, studying judo, makes no difference. You're on the mat, okay? Yeah, so you leave. Let's say you move to Europe, okay, for a job transfer or something, but you still want to play judo. You can walk in. You don't know the language, but when he starts calling out the names of throws and things,
Okay.
oh, that's what you want to see? Okay. And then
Okay.
you start doing the throws.
Oh, that's cool.
So too, being members of the United States Judo Association, which we are, there's other clubs that are members of the United States Judo Federation, for example, and USA Judo. Those are your three under the umbrella. Okay, your rank is sanctioned nationally. You can go anywheres.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
so if you
That's
move
great.
to California, okay, as a brown belt, okay, you're a brown belt over there.
So there's
You
a
don't have
lot
to-
of respect on working your way through the ranks, and it must be not strict, but it must be really laid out as to become a brown belt. You really need to know this information and be qualified to do these throws and
Very much so.
to be able to go nationally
Yes.
and still maintain and have that
We've had
rank.
people compete on the national level.
You've got 2 siblings that are only maybe a year apart, and so in class they're practicing these throws. What do you tell them when they go home? Because all of a sudden I would be, don't be doing that in the living room.
Right.
Is
Actually,
there
we-
parameters that go beyond
yeah.
the
We
classroom?
speak to them actually quite often about that. At the end of class, we have a little end of the class that we let them know, that it's not something that you do at home. You need to be, here at class. And that's also showing respect.
Lesson of the day, huh?
Yeah, lesson of the day.
I bet a lot of discipline comes into.
Mr. Lenfest is pretty good about that when he says, hey, what you've learned here now stays in
Stays
here.
here.
If your friends want to learn, hey, have them come on down. Love to have you. And
Right.
and for the fees and things like that we charge, they're
Oh, I
kinda hard
know.
to
It's
beat,
through Derry Parks and Rec,
Yeah.
so it's a very
So,
nominal fee. And I did see on your website that there's even a family discount. What about the opportunity? Because it's great that if you can do it as a family, because I find that kids are involved in so many different activities and sports that the families are being separated, and mom's going to the soccer game, dad's going to the another game, and another sport. So with it being once a week, do you find that students can participate in other activities?
Absolutely, yeah.
Sure.
It sounds like that it's a gradual process, that you're not going
Builds
to be
upon itself, yeah.
right, that you're not going to come in week 2 and start
No.
throwing.
No.
That's the right terminology, right? Throwing
Throwing.
people, or that it sounds like it's a real process and a very educational process.
It has to be that way, slow but sure, so to speak, because again, safety factor, better supervision for the.
You almost have me talked into it, Pam.
Yes.
I know that we've talked about this before.
You would love it.
That I first of all think it's great that it's not only a physical conditioning and you're learning new physical moves and
Yeah.
things. I really like the thought or the principle that you're actually doing some academic, that you're learning Japanese, you're learning culture, their culture, and really understanding more than just these moves that you're making. I think that's a really neat thing.
It is.
I got some good people out there.
Well, it sounds
We got
like
some
a
very good
great,
people out
a
there.
great program, and
Thank you.
just Pam as a testimony as a student, and now she's helping instructing the younger children. That says a lot about the program too.
Yeah, you see her out there, while Roger and I are looking at what we're going to do today for the lesson plan. Okay, Okay, she's there warming them up, what have you.
Right.
And I've got to get you into judo.
She's been trying. She's been trying.
And not that Mr. Vezeris knows my age, but I did start after 40.
Yeah, and that again is to me a testimony that
Anybody?
we shouldn't let our age or physical ability stop us from trying new things. And
No.
judo sounds like a perfect sport where there's so much instruction and so much understanding about it that the chance of getting injured sounds very minimal. And it just seems like it just...
Like I said, did I have maybe 2 or 3 severe injuries, but nothing that couldn't, be remedied, since 1971.
Yeah, that says a lot.
So that does say a lot for, our supervision.
Right, and that's part of it too, I guess. I was thinking proper technique, but also
Yeah.
supervision,
Yeah.
because somebody needs to be instructing and watching
Yeah.
at all times to make sure.
Yeah. If we see a student, let's say, getting too aggressive or too motivated, okay, we'll say, why don't you sit down for a second here?
Okay.
Take 2-3 minutes off.
I was thinking just the
yeah.
opposite, that maybe I would be afraid to throw somebody and hurt them.
No, because we teach you how to fall properly.
Okay.
And the throws that you first begin are beginner throws, but they're gateway throws to the more advanced throws. So no, and like I said, sometimes we'll take out the marshmallow, especially for the kids that are skittish, and because it's quite a thing, to be taken up and over.
Yeah,
It's quite a feeling.
and not to
Freeze and
fight that.
and to fight it, yes.
And to be stiff and rigid, and to me that's probably part of where maybe an injury would come in if you're
That's right.
tense.
So we have this marshmallow. It's about as tall as a table right there. And we have the kids go on there, and they
They
slam
love that.
themselves into it. They have a grand old time. You see them sinking in. So.
Okay, as long as
Then-
they're
then-
not doing
then
it with
after
the
that we-
furniture at home.
Then after that, they move on to the regular mat flooring. So they make a nice transition.
Well, is there anything we haven't talked about that you would want to bring up?
No, I think you did very nicely in
You
giving
think we
us an
covered
opportunity.
everything?
Yeah, give us an opportunity to talk about Derry Judo, and as well as we talked about other arts, and they're all good too. All those arts are good. It depends on what do you want. So I always tell people, look, okay, check out the classes of different schools, okay. Who's the instructor? What's their background? Okay.
That's perfect, though. I mean, to do your homework and really look at the
you have to.
schools and qualifications and certifications, but also the opportunity. It sounded like you just invited people to come if they want to observe, maybe a week or
Absolutely.
2 before signing up, that they're able to do that.
Oh,
That's nice.
We've had that a number of times. And a good number of them say, I think I'll try it for a couple of sessions anyways.
Okay.
And some people say, no, I think I'd rather try, whatever other activity they were also, shopping for,
Great.
So,
Thank you for coming in today and sharing that
you.
with us.
thank you. Thank you for inviting us.
You're welcome. I hope you've learned a lot about the Derry Judo Club. It sounds like a great family activity. If you're interested, you can go to derrynh.org and search under departments for Parks and Recreation. There's a lot of information on the Derry Judo Club there. Once again, my name is Susanne Bernier Robinson. Thank you for watching Bettering Our Community.